Welcome back, guys, to Research, Design, Build. On today's episode, I want to focus on practical 3D prints for end-use applications. So, first project I got is on these closet doors. There is a guide down here at the bottom that prevents the doors from sliding in and out. This is the original piece that was provided with the door hardware. Now, it's a nice injection molded piece. However, it is quite brittle and flexible. So with a little pressure on the doors, accidents do happen, and doors come out of alignment. And this isn't something that you can sort of put back in, and you can't really buy these separately that I know. Now this was white, so it's a nice piece, matches. However, the hardware that I bought for the downstairs basement renovation, that I've got some videos elsewhere on, came with a metal one, which is a little bit more robust, but had really awful brown plastic molded ends on it. So it really was going to stick out like a sore thumb. So I came up with this design here. It is a little bit thicker here by design to give it a little bit more beef. I was able to incorporate some ribs into the design to stiffen up the outside pieces, and I've got some pre-molded holes for the screws. Here it is installed. Been there for a couple of months now. Still very sturdy and securing things properly, and this is a great example of a practical 3D print. My second practical print came from an issue I was having with this back gate. So this gate was designed to keep the dogs out of the main yard and divert them off to their dog run. But even though I put springs on it and all that, soon the larger dog decided that he could open it himself by pushing down on it and scooping with his paw. So my solution was this little wedge-shaped clip at the bottom, which requires someone to lift up on the gate in order for it to clear, which prevented him from pushing down on it and sort of scooping with his paw. I didn't want these screws to go through any of the deck boards, so I made it so they were in line, and I put them through some of the cracks in the deck board into the wood below, which will allow me to remove this down the road without having to redo the deck or replace any boards. Next up is the bottom mount hardware for these barn doors. Now, the kits do come with hardware for the bottom here, however they usually screw right down through what is tile here. I'm not a big fan of drilling into tile. If you ever wanted to remove the doors or something, you'd have this ghastly hole to try to fix. So this design allows you to screw into the baseboard and into that stud at the bottom of the wall rather than through the tile. My fourth practical print is these little clips here that secure the wires in place going down to my electrical panel. These are the wires that I had to put in for the new circuits for my basement development. So this will save you a trip to the hardware store, as well as let you customize their size based on the number of wires you're trying to secure. My fifth practical print was these spouts for these 5-gallon pails. I also printed a lid for them as well, or a cap that secures. This made painting with these large pails significantly easier. So the next one here is for the shower head. And when I was roughing in the plumbing, I didn't get the spacing quite right for the nipple that this screws onto. So I was off by about 1/4 inch. Now I couldn't get a pipe nipple that was 1/4 inch smaller. They were in sort of 1/2 inch increments. But what I was able to do is very quickly print off in this silver PLA a 1/4 inch spacer, and then I did have put a little groove in it to allow this to sort of recess into it slightly, just so that it gave me a little bit of wiggle room on the installation and still would leave me without a gap there. Now for me, this is a perfect example of what your 3D printer at home can do. This is not something that's going to be visible or noticed by anyone really, unless they know to look for it, but it solved a problem without going to the hardware store very quickly and very efficiently. My second last practical 3D print for 2021 was this little bracket that I printed up to hold my Milwaukee blower. So a great tool, however it is nice to mount it to the wall, and this little bracket here allowed me to do so with ease. So for my 8th and final practical 3D print for this video, it is these extension arms for my GoPro camera mount. Now these I printed with no top or bottom layer, which allowed the infill, in this case a honeycomb, to be exposed and left kind of a cool look to it, as well as saving on material. I also took care in the design to incorporate all of the standard GoPro nuts and fasteners so that I could reuse everything that I already had from my other mounts. So that's going to wrap up this video on the practical 3D prints that I've got on my Prusa 3D printer. Hopefully this has shown you some of the possibilities that you can do with these 3D printers at home, and that they are for functional end-use items and not just novelty items. Now, if you haven't checked out the rest of my channel, please do so. I've got a 6-month review or 4-month review on the Prusa printer that I've got here in the background, and that's what I use to do all of the prints that I showed you today. As well as I've got a whole bunch of more home renovation videos and some automotive content as well, so please make sure to check those out. If this type of content is of interest to you, please hit the subscribe button and please hit the like button as well. That'll help me out immensely, and we'd be much appreciated. Until the next time, we'll see you later.